There are moments when silence carries more weight than the loudest truth. This is one of them, chosen one. You've been given something. You may not fully understand what it is yet. You may not have words for it. You may even be tempted to dismiss it, because it came so quietly, so gently, so privately. But heaven does not make announcements in the noise. God does not place sacred things where hands are careless. He chooses the quiet ones, the steady ones, the faithful ones. He chose you, and what he gave you is not for public display. It's not content. It's not inspiration. It's not meant for validation. It is sacred, a divine whisper sealed within the chambers of your soul. A message not to be spoken, but to be carried. This is not for everyone. Most won't understand why you've gone silent, why your eyes carry a knowing but your lips stay still, why you no longer explain, defend, or share what used to pour out of you. They think you're hiding, but the truth is, you're being hidden, and there's a holy difference. There's a difference between isolation and consecration. You've been consecrated, set apart for something holy, something heavy, something too tender to survive in shallow conversation. God saw the way you endured the dark, the way you held on when everything inside you wanted to let go, the way you kept walking when the road disappeared beneath your feet. And because of that, he trusted you with this secret. It may have come as a dream, a flash of vision, a sudden awareness in your chest, a sentence that echoed inside your spirit and wouldn't leave. You didn't imagine it. You didn't make it up. You received it. And now, you've been asked to do something very few can handle. Carry it without sharing it. Guard it without proving it. Let it shape you without needing it to be seen. There is a war between the version of you that wants to be understood and the version of you that has been appointed to stay hidden. One craves recognition, the other carries revelation. You must choose the latter, because not everyone is meant to witness the becoming. Some things grow best in silence. Some breakthroughs require shadows. The seed was never meant to bloom while watched. It was meant to stretch underground, unseen, undisturbed, unknown. So if no one sees you right now, have you ever felt the weight of something sacred and realized you were never meant to explain it, only to carry it? That isn't confusion, it's confirmation. You weren't sent to perform, you were sent to protect. If you feel that truth settling in your spirit, write in the comments, "I honor what God asked me to hold." Type 77 if the silence you've kept is part of your obedience, and subscribe, not for noise, but for alignment, for reminders that your stillness is not stagnation, it's sacred strategy, and your obedience is already speaking louder than words ever could. Good. That's not rejection, it's protection. You are not behind. You are being preserved. You are not invisible. You are being incubated. Heaven is shielding you, not from exposure, but from distortion, because what you carry is not yet ready to face the air. Not because it's weak, but because it's precious, and precious things take time. Precious things require darkness. Precious things grow in wombs, not on stages. So resist the urge to tell them. Resist the itch to post it. Resist the desire to be applauded for something they were never meant to hear. Not because they're bad, not because you're better, but because they simply aren't assigned to hold what you're holding. It's not their weight, it's yours. And God knew you could bear it. He didn't give this to the loud. He gave it to the listening, to the surrendered, to the one who no longer needs confirmation to walk in obedience, to the one who doesn't need the room to clap in order to keep moving. That's you. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you still question it, even if you wonder why you and why now, you've been chosen to carry something eternal. But before it can be revealed through you, it must be refined within you. And that refinement, it happens here, in the quiet, in the long, slow days where nothing looks like it's moving, but everything is. where your soul aches with revelation, but your mouth remains sealed, where you feel the weight of what you can't say. This is the holy burden. This is the sacred trust. You've been given a piece of heaven's plan and instructed not to share it. Not because it's shameful, because it's not ready. And until it is, your job is not to speak it, but to protect it. Protect it from curious questions. Protect it from casual ears. Protect it from energy that would crush it. Because some people, even well-meaning ones, would mishandle what you've been given. Not because they are evil, but because they were never assigned to carry it. Their advice would shrink it. Their logic would dissect it. Their doubt would poison it. So God said, say nothing. And now you understand why. This silence is not punishment. It's preparation. It's your spiritual training ground. Each day you choose not to reveal what was meant to remain hidden. You are proving your readiness for what's to come. Because anyone can shout, but only the chosen can stay still. Only the mature can carry a prophecy in the womb of their spirit without showing. Only the faithful can feel the fire and not release the smoke. That's you. That's where you are. And yes, it's heavy. Yes, it feels lonely. But your silence is speaking to heaven, to the forces of resistance, to your future. It says, I will wait. I will guard. I will trust. And that trust is building something unshakable inside of you. So next time someone asks, what's next for you? Smile and let your silence answer, because what's coming doesn't need promotion. It needs protection, and you are the protector. You are the keeper. You are the one heaven trusted. And when the time is right, when the season has matured, when the soil has done its work, you won't need to announce it. It will be undeniable. But until then, stay still, stay silent, stay surrendered. Heaven is watching, and you are right on time. Chosen one. There will be times when the silence feels unbearable. You will feel the tension in your chest, the urge to speak, the weight of knowing, the pressure of carrying something so large inside a world that prefers noise over reverence. But this silence is not empty. It is proof. Proof that you were chosen, proof that you were trusted, proof that what lives inside you is too sacred to be scattered. There's something you need to understand now. Not everyone receives what you've been given, because not everyone can carry what you're carrying. That's why the silence is heavy. That's why it feels like the world doesn't see you, because they're not meant to. Yet, God has hidden you in plain sight, not because He forgot you, but because He's forming something in you that needs stillness to survive. You are in the middle of divine refinement, and refinement doesn't happen under bright lights. It happens in the shadows. It happens when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is asking. That's the test. Can you hold what's holy without showing it? Can you carry what's divine without leaking it? Can you stay obedient even when no one understands your obedience? This silence is not just strategy. It is covenant. It is your sacred agreement with heaven that says, I will not let what you gave me be thrown into places that have no reverence for it, because there are places that cannot hold this weight. There are hearts that would crush what you carry, not out of malice, but out of ignorance. And that's why your silence is your shield. Every day you don't speak, you're protecting something precious. Every time you feel the need to explain and you choose peace instead, you're preserving the soil of your purpose. Some people won't understand your withdrawal. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're distant. They'll say you're hiding something. And they're right, you are hiding something. But not from fear, from wisdom, from discernment, from understanding that real power doesn't need an audience to grow. It grows in the ground, like a seed. And what you're carrying, it's not just revelation, it's an assignment, it's a blueprint, it's a portion of something eternal, and God whispered it to you, not to them. So don't trade it for applause. Don't water it down for the sake of being understood. Don't leak it to those who only want to hear what they can reduce. Because if you share it with the wrong person, You risk losing not the message, but the movement, and this movement is too important to misplace. It's too alive to be dissected. It's too holy to be explained. So carry it as you were instructed, not loudly, not carelessly, but faithfully. In silence. You may feel like nothing is happening, but everything is. You may feel like you're standing still, but your obedience is accelerating what can't be seen. Because in the kingdom, stillness is not stagnation. It is strength. It is trust. It is surrender. And that surrender is shaping you into someone who doesn't just hold glory, but reflects it. Chosen one. There's a reason the warfare has increased. There's a reason the distractions have multiplied. There's a reason the pressure to speak has grown louder, because the enemy knows something is forming. He knows you've said yes. He knows you're different, and he'll do everything he can to get you to speak too soon, to expose what's still fragile, to offer to the world what should still be in the womb. But you are wiser now. You recognize the traps. You feel the counterfeit affirmation. You know the cost of speaking before the season is ripe. And because of that, you remain still, you remain hidden, you remain focused even when it's lonely, even when it's misunderstood, even when it aches, because something in your spirit knows. This silence is sacred. It is doing more than you realize. It is protecting your momentum. It is preserving your strength. It is maturing your anointing. Not every process needs publicity. Some processes are private because they're prophetic, and prophecy doesn't need validation, it needs obedience. So walk like you know who you are, even when they question you, even when they misread you, even when they say, "You've changed." Let them speak, but you, stay quiet. Let your silence confuse them. Let your peace offend them. Let your restraint shine brighter than your response ever could. Because you're not in this to be seen. You're in this to be sent. And being sent requires preparation. And preparation requires discretion. You are in a season of divine discretion, a holy hush, a sacred stillness. Not because you have nothing to say, but because what you carry is so valuable, it cannot be said just yet. When the time comes, your life will speak. Your movement will declare it. Your presence will proclaim what your voice never needed to. And those who didn't understand your silence, they'll witness your elevation. And in that moment, they'll realize you weren't hiding. You were honoring. You weren't running. You were reverencing. You weren't lost. You were listening. Listening to the one who whispered a secret and asked you not to share it yet. So don't rush this season, don't despise it, don't treat it as delay. It's design. God is protecting you with silence. He's positioning you through stillness. He's preparing you in obscurity, because what's coming next cannot be mishandled. It cannot be misrepresented. It cannot be contaminated by crowds who weren't called to carry it. So be still, be faithful. Be hidden. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. And your silence, it is your proof that you are chosen, that you are trusted, that you are ready, even if no one sees it yet. Chosen one. You've wondered why the silence has lingered, why the vision stays hidden, why the seed inside you keeps stretching, but the world sees nothing blooming. But hear this now, and let it settle into the parts of you that still feel confused. You are not hiding. You are being held. There is a difference. Hiding is rooted in fear. Being held is rooted in protection. And right now, God is holding you in a sacred pause, not to punish, but to prepare. You were given a secret, not a theory, not a wish, a holy assignment placed gently in your spirit. Though it burns like fire, though it presses against your chest like weight, though it pulses like something ready to break free, still, the instruction is the same. Say nothing, speak not, post not, prove not, because what you carry is alive but not yet armored. It's holy but not yet hardened, and just like a newborn cannot be placed in battle, your secret cannot yet be exposed to the elements. Not yet. The urge to speak is real. It comes in waves, in moments of loneliness, when you crave someone to understand. in moments of fire, when the revelation feels too big for silence, in moments of pressure, when the world asks questions your mouth aches to answer. But don't. Not yet. You were not sent to explain. You were sent to embody, and embodiment takes time. You're not just holding a message, you're becoming it, and that becoming is sacred. It cannot be microwaved. It cannot be forced. It must unfold slowly, like morning, deliberately, like rivers, faithfully, like breath. Let it, because the ones who rush revelation often lose it. The ones who leak vision before it's formed often never see it return, but the ones who trust the silence, they see the glory. You've already proven you can carry silence. You've already proven you can protect something sacred from the eyes of those not called to witness it. But now, the test deepens. Now you must carry it in the midst of misunderstanding. When they say you're distant, smile. When they say you've changed, nod. When they say you used to share more, stay silent, because they are seeing your cocoon and assuming you're done growing. But you know better. You are not who you were. You are not yet who you will be. You are mid-transformation. And that space, that in-between, it's not dead space. It's holy ground. Every moment you feel unseen is a moment you are being deeply formed. Every time you ache to reveal what God said and don't, heaven nods in quiet approval. Because that's what trust looks like in action. Not loud, not flashy, just firm, rooted, obedient. This is spiritual maturity, not needing the world to clap when heaven has already confirmed, not asking the crowd to understand what only the Spirit whispered, not chasing connection when consecration is the call. You've been called apart, not because you're better, but because you're built for something rare, and rarity demands reverence. God knew what He gave you would not be safe in the mouths of many. He knew they would dissect it, dilute it, doubt it. So He hid it in you. He covered it in silence. He wrapped it in the sacred. And now He asks, will you continue to carry it even as it grows heavier, even when you can't see the road, even when the confirmation feels distant? Because faith is not just believing in what's coming. It's being loyal to what hasn't yet shown up. And you've been loyal. Through silence, through absence, through aching. And that loyalty is writing your next chapter, not on paper, but in the unseen. In the spirit, in the atmosphere around you. Something is shifting because you stayed silent. Something is breaking open because you said no to proving and yes to protecting. Do you feel it? The subtle change, the soft tension in the air? That's movement. Not on stages, not in spotlight, but beneath the surface, in the soil, where roots grow deeper than eyes can ever reach. That's where your promise is. It's not delayed, it's being rooted, it's not gone, it's being guarded. And every time you whisper, I will wait, the heavens respond with preparation. Angels clear the path you haven't stepped on yet. Doors align that you haven't seen. Provision shifts into motion long before you ever knock. Why? Because God can trust your silence. And trusted silence unlocks divine movement. This isn't just about the secret anymore. It's about your capacity to hold heaven's voice without collapsing. It's about your alignment, your posture, your presence. You don't need to speak loudly to be powerful. Your obedience is louder than any voice. So keep going, keep holding, keep guarding, even if no one affirms it. Even if you feel like you're walking alone, you're not. Heaven is walking with you. The secret is still alive, and so are you. Don't let the quiet fool you. You're growing, you're being trusted, you're being shaped into someone who doesn't just deliver revelation, but who is revelation. That's the call now, not to carry it, to become it. And becoming takes silence. Let it finish its work. Let it reshape your walk. Let it refine your soul. What's ahead cannot be touched by the unready. But you, chosen one, you are being made ready. In the world will know soon enough. But for now, let the silence speak. Let the hush hold. Let the unseen continue. Because what you're carrying is not just for today, it's for generations. So protect it and trust. You are not hiding. You are being held. Chosen one, it's time you release the need to be understood. Let it go. Because what God whispered to you in the dark was never meant to echo in the mouths of many. And the longer you wait for the world to see what only heaven delivered, the longer you risk delaying the very thing you were born to carry. They won't understand, and they're not supposed to. It was never for them. That vision, it wasn't passed through a crowd. That revelation, it wasn't printed for mass consumption. That fire in your spirit, it didn't arrive with a press release. It came quietly, privately, directly, and it came to you. You felt it, didn't you? The shift. The moment when what was once just longing became instruction. The moment when your desires turned into divine directives. The moment you stopped dreaming out loud and started walking with something you could no longer explain. That's what it means to be entrusted. To carry what others cannot even perceive, to move through rooms full of voices and still keep the secret sealed inside your ribcage. Not because you're ashamed, but because you've been commanded. There's a difference between silence and suppression. Suppression silences out of fear. Divine silence speaks through obedience. You've been obedient. You've held back when everything in you wanted to share. You've smiled while your insides trembled with the weight of knowing. You've stood in the presence of shallow conversations while carrying an ocean of truth. And now the tension is rising, because the more the secret grows, the more visible the pressure becomes. But the command has not changed. Do not speak. Not yet. Because the moment you hand a sacred scroll to someone who cannot read the language of the Spirit, they will try to translate it through the lens of their own limitation. They'll shrink it, they'll question it, they'll analyze the divine out of it, and worst of all, then, they'll make you doubt it. You must protect it, because it's not just an idea, it's not just potential, it's a spiritual assignment carrying eternal consequence. And the enemy knows that. That's why he sends the whispers, not to destroy the vision, but to provoke your mouth. Because the moment you say what should have stayed unsaid, the process becomes exposed to criticism that wasn't meant to touch it. Not everyone is evil, but many are unprepared, and what you carry is too delicate to be touched by those who haven't cultivated reverence. So let them misunderstand you. Let them draw conclusions. Let them think what they want. You're not called to be understood. You're called to be obedient, and obedience requires you to sit in rooms where you're misread and say nothing, to walk among people who only know the old you and smile while God shapes the new you in secret, to hear the assumptions, the projections, the gossip, and respond only with presence. Your peace is your defense. Your silence is your strategy, your discernment is your covering, and the ones who were meant to walk with you, they'll recognize the shift without explanation. They'll sense the weight, even when you offer no words. Because those who carry fire can always feel when another soul is burning. The rest, they'll keep asking questions. Why are you so quiet lately? What are you working on? What's next? You could answer, you could explain. You could offer pieces of the path, but you won't, not because you're hiding, but because you're consecrating. You're protecting what isn't done yet. You're stewarding what hasn't matured yet, and you're trusting that when the moment comes, it will need no introduction. It will arrive clothed in undeniable glory, and those who laughed, they'll see. Those who doubted, they'll witness. Not because you shouted, but because God moved. Until then, the sacred remains sacred. You may be surrounded by people who don't get it. You may be walking in circles that feel too small for what's growing in you. You may feel like you're too deep, too intense, too spiritual for the rooms you're still assigned to. But don't let that discourage you. The gap is intentional. It's not distance, it's distinction. God is marking you, not for popularity, but for purpose. And purpose doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with isolation. But isolation is not punishment, it's preservation. You're not being left out. You're being set apart. You're not being rejected, you're being reserved. And what's reserved often stays unseen until the appointed time. So don't rush to be understood. Don't force yourself into spaces that require you to dilute the mystery just to be accepted. You were not meant to be translated. You were meant to be witnessed in full, in glory, in God's time. Chosen one, let the process protect you. Let the misunderstanding shield you from unwanted attention. Let the silence continue forming you in places applause could never reach. Your voice is not weak, it's being refined. Your gift is not fading, it's being focused. And when the curtain lifts, when the time is declared, what you've carried in silence will roar with a force that no critic can deny. But for now, let the silence do the talking. Let the mystery hold its place, and let your obedience echo louder than any explanation ever could. Chosen one, have you ever looked around and asked, why does nothing seem to be changing? Why is everything still so quiet? Did I misunderstand what God gave me? You didn't misunderstand. You're just in the part of the process no one teaches you about, the stillness before the unfolding, and it feels like nothing's happening, but everything is. You are in the silent stretch between seed and bloom. You are in the hidden hour where roots form deeper than vision can reach. And heaven calls this place holy, the world calls it delay, but God, he calls it preparation, because what you carry cannot emerge immature, it cannot enter unfinished, it cannot stand exposed before it's been properly formed. So yes, it's quiet. Yes, it feels long, but don't mistake silence for stagnation. Something is moving even now, even here, even in this stretch of time where nothing external reflects what's burning inside, because obedience never goes unnoticed and surrender is never wasted. Heaven is responding to your stillness. Angels are being assigned because of your silence. The heavens are aligning because you refuse to announce too soon. That's power, the kind the world doesn't recognize. The kind that confuses those addicted to noise. Because this world moves fast. It demands updates, visibility, momentum, but the spirit moves in depth, in process, in timing. And timing is not delayed just because your emotions are impatient. Timing is divine, and your silence, it is cooperating with something larger than you know. It is allowing the promise to breathe before it walks, to stretch before it speaks, to root before it rises. Chosen one, this part is sacred, this waiting, this holding, this quiet obedience. It's doing more than you can see. It's stripping away the version of you that needed recognition to feel real. It's peeling off the layers that still equated movement with noise, and it's building in you something terrifying to the enemy. Unshakable trust. Trust that doesn't need proof. Trust that doesn't need confirmation. Trust that sits in the silence and still says, I believe. Because believing is not just for the beginning. It's for the in-between, for the space between God spoke and God showed. And most give up there. Most leak the secret. Most bend under the pressure of being invisible. But not you. You've stayed, you've guarded, you've carried, even when the days blurred into each other, even when the urge to prove tried to claw its way out of your chest, even when the question returned, did God really say that? Yes, he did, and he still means it. But the promise was never for performance. It was for partnership, and right now your silence is proof that you are still in covenant, still in alignment, still in position. This is not a passive waiting. This is spiritual warfare. You are resisting the pressure to prove. You are refusing to feed what was meant to die in this season. Your need to be seen, and that refusal is building something eternal. Because what you do when no one is watching reveals what heaven can trust you with when everyone is. So let it feel long. Let it feel heavy. Let it stretch you, because the stretch is holy. It's not breaking you, it's forming you. It's making space for what's coming, because what's coming isn't small. It's not quick, it's not fragile. It's full, it's holy. It's weighty, and if you were not prepared, it would crush you. But you are being prepared. Each quiet day is preparation. Each silent yes is foundation. Each breath you take without broadcasting is another layer of strength. The silence is not empty. It's constructing you. You're being built into someone who doesn't just deliver the message, but who is the message. And messages like this are not rushed, they're released. When heaven says now, not before. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep waiting with fire in your bones and wisdom on your tongue. Not because you see movement, but because you believe in the unseen. That's faith. Not believing in spite of the silence, but because of it. Because the silence is part of the design. It's where faith matures. It's where clarity sharpens. It's where calling roots itself so deeply that no storm can shake it later. You're not losing time. You're gaining depth. And depth is what sustains what speed never could. So next time someone asks, what's next for you? Whisper within, growth. Not the kind they can track, not the kind that gets likes, but the kind that splits stone, the kind that reshapes atmosphere, the kind that shifts generations. That's what's being built inside you, and that's why it's quiet, because nothing holy is ever rushed. Nothing eternal is ever loud at first, and nothing God breathes into being comes with instant applause. It comes with weight, with silence, with stillness. And when it's ready, when you're ready, it will arrive. And the ones who watched you stay silent, they'll know. They'll remember the days you disappeared, the seasons you walked unseen, and they'll say something was always different about them. And you'll smile. Not because they finally see, but because you always believed. And belief is what built you. Chosen one, you've come far, further than most will ever realize, because your path hasn't been one of spectacle, but of stillness, not one of shouting, but of sheltering, not one of explanation, but of endurance. And now you are nearing the moment when the secret you've carried will no longer need to be hidden, because it will begin to speak on its own. But not because you decided it was time, because heaven did. And when heaven moves, it doesn't send warnings. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't knock softly. It opens doors that were never supposed to exist. And when those doors swing open, chosen one, the very thing you've been guarding will stand up in full glory. Undeniable, radiant, undeniable. Not because you unveiled it, but because God did. Until then, you remain still, you remain silent, you remain grounded in the knowing that your waiting has not been wasted, that every moment you held your tongue, every time you resisted the urge to share, every time you bit back the words and whispered instead to God in secret, those moments counted. They were recorded, they were honored. They were building something, not just in the heavens, but inside of you, because carrying something holy isn't just about guarding the vision, it's about becoming the vessel worthy of it. And now, you are that vessel. You don't need proof anymore. You don't need applause. You don't even need confirmation, because your roots have grown too deep to be shaken by surface winds. And that, chosen one, is what makes you dangerous. To doubt, to fear, to anything that would try to dismantle what was forged in sacred stillness. You've been hidden long enough to know that validation is not the same as value. And now, when the time comes, and it will come, your emergence won't be marked by noise, but by authority. The kind that can't be faked, the kind that doesn't compete, the kind that doesn't defend itself. It just is. Because heaven spoke it into being. And when heaven speaks, it finishes what it starts. This is why the secret had to stay hidden. This is why you were asked to hold it, nurture it, protect it, even when it felt invisible. Because visibility was never the goal. Transformation was, and you've been transforming, silently, consistently, deeply. The world hasn't seen it, but heaven has. And heaven is the one that matters, because the day will come when what you've carried finally aligns with the moment it was destined for. And you won't need to explain where you've been. Your presence will answer the question. You won't need to say, "I told you so." Your fruit will say it for you. You won't need to prove anything, because the proof will be you, chosen one. You've held a sacred flame while walking through darkness. You've protected a word while surrounded by doubt. You've said yes to something you couldn't describe, not because you had all the facts, but because you recognized the voice. And that yes, it has changed everything, not all at once, not with fireworks, but slowly, faithfully, with each silent moment of obedience. And now, you're not just carrying the secret, you are becoming what it means. The silence isn't just around you, it's in you. It has refined you, purified you, stripped away everything that was not aligned with the weight of this calling. You've lost things, haven't you? People, places, parts of yourself, and every loss tried to convince you that you were going backwards, but you weren't going back. You were going deeper, and now that you are deep, now that you are still, God is ready to show the world what He hid in you all along. And you don't need to rehearse it. You don't need to write a script, because the moment it happens, you'll know, this is what I was waiting for. And it won't come with flashing signs. It won't come in a moment of striving. It will come like breath, like light, like the breaking of dawn after a night that felt eternal. And all you'll need to do is walk through it, not announce it, not decorate. Just walk. Your life will tell the story. Your voice will carry the weight of someone who didn't quit when it was quiet. Your silence will become sound, but not sound for applause, sound for awakening. Others will feel it. They'll recognize the glow. They'll say, there's something about them. And they'll be right. What they see will be real. But what they don't see will be greater. Because what lives inside you was never just for show. It was for shift. It was to change atmospheres, to unlock what was dormant in others, to carry the whisper of God into places where people forgot what His voice sounds like. That's the power of the secret, not that it was hidden, but that it changed you while it was. And now you're the sign, you're the message, you're the answer to questions others haven't learned to ask yet, but they will, and when they do, you'll be ready, not to teach from theory, but from transformation, not to impress, but to impact, not to be seen, but to serve. Chosen one. The hidden season is ending, but not because you forced it, because you honored it. And what is honored is always multiplied. You honored the silence, and now the silence is preparing to echo. So get ready, not with anxiety, but with stillness, not with pressure, but with peace, because the one who didn't speak too soon will soon carry a voice that others can't ignore, not because of tone, but because of truth, and truth always prevails. Let it rise in you, let it unfold, let it move without needing permission. You've done well, and heaven has seen it all. Now watch what heaven does next. Not because you pushed, but because you protected, not because you fought to be seen, but because you chose to be still. And now the secret, it's ready, and it will speak for itself. Chosen one. There's one more thing you must understand before the unveiling begins. The moment just before the light breaks is always the darkest. Not because God has forgotten you, not because the promise has faded, but because the final test is not about the secret itself. It's about you. Are you truly ready? Not just to carry what's holy, but to protect it when others try to define it. Not just to walk in your moment, but to remain unshaken when eyes turn to you without knowing what it cost. This final stillness is not silence, it is sealing. God is sealing what He planted. He is wrapping your soul with wisdom so that what's coming next doesn't crush the vessel that's been so faithfully formed in the dark. You are being fortified, because when the doors open, it will happen suddenly, not gradually, not softly, suddenly, and you must be anchored enough not to rush, rooted enough not to react, silent enough inside that you can still hear the voice that got you here when other voices start to rise. This is the final guardian moment, not to protect the secret, but to protect the purity it created in you. Don't lose what the silence made sacred. Don't trade what was built in the shadows for what glitters in the sun. Don't forget the prayer that held you together when no one was watching, because that's who you really are, not the one who rises, but the one who was refined, not the one who was revealed, but the one who was faithful. The fruit may show later, but the root was always the real story. And heaven celebrates what no eye saw, what no hand clapped for, what no person validated. Heaven honors silence like the world never will. And so, even when the curtain rises, stay low. Even when the crowd gathers, stay hidden in heart. Even when the blessing flows, remember the silence, because it's not over. It's only just beginning. The secret wasn't just a message, it was a mirror. It showed you who you are beneath the performance, beneath the proving, beneath the pressure. It revealed the posture you were always meant to walk in, steady, silent, sacred. That posture must remain even after the glory comes, because the secret didn't change you to prepare you for applause. It changed you to prepare you for authority, and true authority needs no introduction. It moves quietly, it speaks gently, it carries God's weight without seeking man's praise. You now carry that weight, not as a burden, but as an honor. The silence was the womb. This is the breath. So breathe deep, walk slow, remain still within, because even as the secret speaks for itself, you must still know when to speak and when not to. This is your charge, your assignment, your sacred edge, and it will keep you holy. When the light finds you,